had a question about glycogen loading, how I glycogen load pre-workout every workout. And the result is, with this process, I become like, I reach a level of super saturation. Yeah, honest. I mean, I don't know what else to call it. Super saturation with how much glycogen I can load into the muscles, right? And different people, and it depends how much muscle you've got. And I'll also say this, I'll go out on a limb and dare say that even if you have a similar amount of muscle as the next man, it also has to do with how well trained those muscles are. And what I mean by that is to actually be able to load up that much glycogen and absorb that much glycogen, limiting factor, there's a lot of things that can be limiting factors, but one huge limiting factor is going to be that fascia. That fascia, the facial tissue, encapsulating that muscle, that sheath surrounding that muscle. How elastic is that? How cooperative is that fascia going to be as far as expanding and allowing for the accommodation of that an extreme amount of pump or all that glycogen, holding all that glycogen? And I will also say that it's been my experience over decades that the way that I supercompensate like this and supersaturate every single workout, it's very, very small incremental steps to the moon. It's very small steps, but I don't understand why people don't think these small steps add up to huge gains. Look at the muscle on your body. How long does it take to build that muscle, really? If you've been lifting a long time and you have some serious muscle and you really do have a hard-fought, hard-won foundation of muscle, could you see it grow? Could you see it from day to day grow? No, you can't see it grow. Sitting around watching paint dry would be more exciting than trying to sit around and watch muscle grow. At least the paint will dry, a faster process, then you're going to grow the muscle. So, yet muscle growth does occur. And the accumulation, the surmounting day-by-day process, consistency over time, very small, almost literally they are microscopic, incremental gains deliver you into whatever you become later when you actually acquire some fucking muscle tissue, something worth talking about, right? Some real gains. And this super compensation with this glycogen, loading this glycogen, what I do is it's very simple. There's a lot of products out there over the years, over the decades. I have graduated as the technology, as the chemistry has improved, as the research has improved, as the products have improved, as these things have become more popular, more financially viable for companies to explore and actually develop, and the technology has so advanced that, what I started out using basically is garbage compared to what's available nowadays. So for probably the past decade, it's always been about carbolin. Maybe it's been longer than that. I don't know how far it goes back that I've been using carbolin. I'd say damn close to a decade probably. So EFX supplements, carbolin, Karbolyn, carbolin. It's Dr. Jeff Galini's creation. It's patented. It's patented. You're not going to get a generic carbolin. Carbolin is a one-off thing. It is what it is. Other things will work, but again, I've been doing this for decades. I was doing this when people didn't even have any inclination to even try this or anything like it. Didn't even make sense to them. But I was doing it because it made sense to me, and I could feel what it did, and I could see the pumps. Everybody would comment, Jesus Christ, you look like you gained 10 pounds. And that would be just from coming into the gym. When I first came into the gym, until I pulled that sweatshirt off, warmed up, that fucking pump would make that difference. Now, are you going to stay like that? after that pump goes down? No. But again, over time, you're stretching the fascia. You know, you're super compensating with glycogen, super saturating that muscle. You're stretching that fascia more and more over time. And it's theoretically, it's backed up with science. You know, it's a split decision that you're conditioning that fascia, you're loosening that fascia up to assist in the accommodation of new muscle growth. And the limit, it's kind of like, you know, you got the limit, speed of light is the limit, right? Take a faster speed of light, supposedly, but on paper you can find out ways to do it, but we don't know that it's possible yet, that it can actually be applied and done. Well, it's kind of like that with this. We know that we're stretching that fascia, and we know that that fascia has to be able to accommodate that new muscle growth. That muscle cannot grow any faster, get any bigger, any faster than that fascia is going to allow the accommodation of that expansion. So it is one of the limiting factors. But if you're doing everything else correctly, then that's the next thing to look at. So, and besides that, who doesn't love a pump? And who doesn't love the biggest pump possible? And if you're in the gym, and by God, all bodybuilding gyms are covered with mirrors, not so much powerlifting gyms, which is fine with me, but all the bodybuilding gyms are covered with mirrors, so you can't help but see yourself. So if you find a little extra additional motivation, because you're looking fucking beastly, much more beastly than usual, then that's another good thing when you're that full and that pumped. And over a period of time, you're not going to completely go down. You will stay day to day walking around a little bit fuller, a little bit rounder, holding a little bit more glycogen than you otherwise would. So, you know, it's like anything else. That's what I thought was happening. I've done it for a long, long, long time, and everybody knows that I gain literal inches when I get pumped. I mean, literal, really, inches. You know, which you can take a tape measure and prove it. Like a really good deal of gain. You know, that's how much of a pump I get, how much of expansion I experience. Then just like the L-arginine, you know, you'll see fucking dickheads now making videos, oh, don't take L-arginine, you can't absorb it. Horse shit, bull fucking shit. You know, and I'll make a whole other video about that later. But just like what I thought about L-arginine, and then I went and had my heart checked, and they stuck a fucking catheter up my arm and a video, you know, with a camera on it, shot dye into all my arteries at my heart, and filmed it, and I saw it on the screen, and the fucking doctor was like, man, this is incredible. You have like no plaque. No plaque, literally unheard of at your age, no plaque. You know, I gotta say in totality, your entire cardiovascular system, maybe you have 5%. And guess what? That's what I said the L-arginine I believe it would do every day. Okay, here we are over a decade later, no plaque. So, and it's the same thing with the pump. How are you always so big and fucking full? How do you get so fucking pumped? And you tell people, and then they're still hesitant to believe that that's, you know, I don't get it. Anyway, here's how it works. And I've made videos about this before, but people are asking me now and asking me to make a video on it, so that's what I'm doing. Okay? Carbolin. Okay. Now, if you were going to be tested to see that you can, that you're not insulin resistant, that you do produce a healthy amount of insulin, that your insulinogenic response is considered to be normal, then what they would do is they would give you 75 grams of glucose, or, you know, whatever the fuck, something like this, dextrose. I guess glucose is what they give you. And they want to see you manage that blood sugar from that 75 grams. Because that 75 grams is what they deem as just an overall generic point of reference, you know, to generate a good healthy spike of insulin, a significant spike of insulin. And then they want to see within 2 hours that if you're healthy, you're going to be able to manage that blood sugar within 2 hours time. Okay, well, when you work out, you crush blood sugar. You crush blood sugar. Anybody who's ever worked out so long that all of a sudden they're losing their pump now, that's because you just outpaced your nutrition, you know, your nutrients. You outpaced the glucose. You didn't have any more glycogen. You outpaced the glycogen. You didn't have any more glycogen. Either It's water and carbs, so which one are you lacking on? That's what's happened. All right, so what the carbolin does, the carbolin is actually a complex carbohydrate that has been modified to behave as a simple sugar, but it's not a simple sugar. It's speculated, claimed by EFX, that there's no crash, which I can confirm that's true, but it sustains, it spikes and rises in your bloodstream. It rises as blood sugar faster than pure glucose. Faster than pure glucose. A greater, faster, quicker spike. But unlike glucose, it stays there and sustains itself for up to 2 hours. Now, in the gym, training hard, I've never seen it last 2 hours. I have put it through its paces and seen it hold its own at a good hour and a half. But how long I'm going to train is going to be one thing to consider when you're talking about dose, how much carbon you want to take. The other thing to consider is how much glycogen can I hold, and how hard do I train? What kind of, what kind of stress, what kind of intensity am I going to inflict? Am I going to generate? So if you want a good, healthy injection of natural fucking insulin, generate insulin within your body, and you're healthy enough to do so, then you would start out, your base thing is 75 grams of carbolin. So of course you're going to have people, they're going to try that, they're going to be amazed, and then they're going to say, well, then I'll take 150 grams, got to be better. No, it's not better. It's not better, because if you don't have enough muscle and your muscles are not, I don't want to say educated enough, or I'm going to say if your muscles are not trained, to be able to hold that glycogen like that ritualistically, so used to this, it's old hat, it does what it does, it knows how to do it, and it accommodates it very easily, and that fascia will stretch right out enough, then you're going to get fat taking too much carbolin. You're going to get fat, because at the end of your workout, you're not going to crush that. That's too much now. That blood sugar is going to be too high, you're not going to crush it, and at the end of your workout, when you're finished and getting in the car to go home, your blood sugar is still going to be high. So something still has to happen to all that. That blood sugar has to normalize. We got to get some homeostasis in here somewhere. And those additional carbohydrates are going to be stored as fat. By the same token, you don't want to smash it all the way down flatter than shit. You don't want to do that either. So now, what's your average blood sugar in the course of the day? You need to know that. First thing you need to know is, what's your blood sugar first thing in the morning? Are you pre-diabetic and don't even know it? Because so many are now. Do you have high blood sugar? Everybody's saying, no, my blood sugar's good. Do you check it? No. Do you own a fucking glucose meter? They're only like 25 hours, 30 hours? No. Okay, how do you know what it is then? Well, my doctor tells me, there you go, trust in your doctor. There you go. Put your life in another man's hands so completely that even the shit you can double check, you ain't worried about doing. All right, I don't know how old you are, but when you start to get near my age, you may want to change your fucking way of thinking. Maybe you'll be lucky, maybe it won't matter, but it certainly could matter. It can give you an early heads up, that's for damn sure. As with all the other things I do that I check and keep track of. So get a blood sugar meter, get a little glucose meter, it's like a little diabetic person does. And get up in the morning after sleeping all night, first thing, what's your blood sugar? It damn sure better be below 100. It really should be below 90. If it's in the 70s, that's incredible, awesome, good. Give yourself a pat on the back. If it's in the 80s, that's still very, very good. If it's in the 90s, you're still okay, but you don't want to get near 100. You absolutely don't want to hit 100. That'd be too high. Something's wrong. All right, you're becoming resistant. So first thing, all right, you have healthy blood sugar, check that off. Okay, I'm good. All right, well now on a normal day, normal way that you eat, how does your blood sugar run throughout the day? Midday, what's your blood sugar normally look like? Pre-workout, around about that time, what on an average day does your blood sugar look like then? You should check it and see, is it 130? Is it 120? Is it 115? What is it? It's going to be higher, but how high? What is it? If it's already high, then you don't need to put any more in there. That sugar can be used as glycogen. That sugar can contribute and be used as glycogen. Okay, no sense putting more in. All right, go out and burn that off. Go in the gym and that's your pump right there. Now, if you're running, I don't know, if you were 115, 120, 125, maybe you ate recently, whatever, you get ready to go in the gym, that's probably not enough. If you're big. If you're not really big, it might. So what I would say is maybe check at the end of your workout. What's your blood sugar now? Just smash it flat. If it's still kind of high, then you don't need to be fucking Carbolin. You need to fix all that. All right? Now, if blood sugar's good, and this is my opinion now, if the blood sugar's good and everything's good to go, then when you get ready to work out, I would suggest you take 50 to 75 grams of Carbolin in your pre-workout. That's going to generate an insulin spike. It's going to spike your blood sugar. And when you go and work out, that blood sugar, that muscle's being wrung out. You're wringing out the glycogen, and that muscle's fucking being submerged almost. Picture it in a bucket full of fucking glycogen, just soaking it all up like a sponge. That's what's happening. Now, at the end of that workout, you want to see what your blood sugar is. This is until you get a hang of it. It's imperative. You want it to work. You don't want to get fat. You want to get big, and you want to get swollen, you want to get round. So check it afterwards. What's your blood sugar now versus what it would normally be afterwards? Is it real high? If it's real high, that was too much Carbolin for you. You can't manage all that. You don't have any place to put all that. Can't handle that. So where's that going to go then? That's going to make you fat is what's that's going to happen. Small steps to the moon, but you're still going to get fat. You can take small steps to the moon and get big muscularly, or you can take small steps to the moon and turn into a fat slob. Depends on what you want to do. It'll take you there. That's what insulin does. Shuttles nutrients. So if everything's everything, you know, typically I will take 100 grams of Carbolin, maybe 125. Back in the day, really huge, big, 200 grams. 200 fucking grams. And I could manage that. I could still keep abs and be like 280 and full as a tick. You've seen pictures of me that are out there? You know, nowadays 75 grams to 100 grams is enough. Is enough. But that's the whole point. How much can you hold? How much, glycogen do you need? How much can you store in your muscles? And how much is left over? What's your blood sugar look like at the end of the workout? You hammer that blood sugar flat? Because that's what the workout does. Workout's catabolic. If your blood sugar's too high afterwards, then that should tell you, okay, if it's higher than what it would have normally been without the Carbolin, you've probably taken too much Carbolin, or you need to work out harder and longer, because you're not utilizing that shit. So if you keep taking, this is one of these cases where I know the busters don't get this, but just because a certain amount of something works great for you, more of that doesn't necessarily turn out great. There's a point of diminishing returns, and it's all downhill. They do it with gear. They do it with fucking protein. They do it with everything. With everything. They do it with the food. They do it with everything. And if you do it with something like this, that material's got to go somewhere. If you really don't have the muscle to hold that, then you're going to get fat. That's where it's going to go. So that's what Carbolin does. That's how it works. That's how I use it. I'm not speaking for EFX. I'm certain that they're not going to put on the label any of this kind of shit like this like I do, because it'd be too much risk involved. Too much liability to that. So I'm not suggesting that you go home and do exactly as I do. I'm suggesting you look at how big you are, how much muscle you've got, and you figure out how much you need to take, what's going to be to your advantage. And then it's all your decision. Don't look at the next man. Don't point a finger at the next man. Okay? He's doing his thing. You worry about you. Let him worry about him. If you can meet in the middle somewhere, help each other, that's awesome. That's a huge plus. But just because Joe Blow's doing it, so I decided to do it, now I fucked myself up. That ain't Joe Blow's fault. You're responsible for you, motherfucker. You are. All right, so that's what works. That's how I use Carbolin. I love it. Like I said, back in the day, when I graduated from everything, I use Vitargo. I think it's garbage. It's my opinion. Shit. It's my opinion. I've used Torrent Animal, right? When they had Torrent, I don't know if they still have it. I liked that. That worked really well. I liked it. I've used Celtec on desperate times. When I've been desperate enough, the fucking formula seems like somebody put their head in the game and created it for motherfuckers injecting insulin. That's pretty much what it seems like to me, because it's got all the requirements and in the right amounts. You know, it used to be 75 grams per serving, and it was like dead to the money and all that shit. Yeah. Anyway. And again, this is all my opinion. I'm certain these companies don't want you misusing their shit like that. But if you do it the way I do it, you're going to be buying more of it, so I guess it all works out in the end.